से जहाँ और भी है अभी बेनमूद कि खाली नहीं है ज़मीर वजूद। हर एक मुंतज़िर तेरी अलगार का, तेरी शौक़ी फ़िक्र व किरदार का। यह है मकसद गर्दिश रोज़गार कि तेरी खुदी तुझ पे हो आश्कार। तू है फ़ाते आलम खूब दिश्त, तुझे क्या बताऊँ तेरी सरनविश्त। हकीकत पे है जामे हर्फ तंग, हकीकत है आईना गुफ्तार जंग। फिरोज़ा सीना में शम्ए नफस, मगर ताब गुफ्तार कहती है बस। अगर यकसर मुये बरतर परम, फुरूग तजल्ली बिसूज़त परम. So I'm going to do a short explanation now. Distinguished guests, faculty, and fellow students, in the history of modern philosophy, we often encounter a view of the human subject as either a cog in a socio-economic machine or a passive observer of an indifferent mechanistic universe. Even within our own spiritual traditions, we frequently find a heavy emphasis on self-negation. The idea that the self is a barrier to be dismantled in order to reach the divine. However, nearly a century ago, Muhammad Iqbal, the philosopher-poet who bridged the gap between Western metaphysics and Islamic thought, offered an audacious ontological reversal. Indeed, what he proposed was so radical that it earned him the condemnation from religious authorities of his time and continues to provoke debate in Islamic scholarship today. He argued that the self is not an illusion to be escaped, but a spark to be fanned into a flame. In Iqbal's view, the human ego is not merely a passive observer of this universe, it is its primary architect. In his magnum opus, Bali Jibril, within the stanzas of the Sakinama, which Sakinama, for those who don't know, means the tale of the wine bearer. Iqbal defines the cosmic potential of the self or khudi. Khudi sher Mawla, Jahan uska se, Zameen uski se, Asman uska se. Jahan aur bhi hai abhi benamud, ke khali nahi hai zamir wujud. The self is the lion of God, the world is its prey, the earth is its prey, the heavens are its prey. There are other worlds yet to be manifested, for the mind of existence is not yet empty. To understand these lines, we must move beyond a colloquial understanding of khudi as ego or pride. In Iqbalian thought, khudi represents a sophisticated metaphysical framework that resonates with what we call panpsychism. Iqbal posits that the universe is not made up of dead matter, but of degrees of individuation. Influenced by Leibniz's monadology, the idea that reality is made up of indivisible centers of consciousness, and the Quranic view of a living universe, Iqbal argues that everything, from the subatomic particle to the center of a galaxy, is the center of experience. Matter, for Iqbal, is not merely a colony of lower egos whose behavior has become habituated and predictable. In simple terms, this is the view that consciousness is not something that suddenly turns on once a brain becomes complex enough. Instead, Iqbal suggests that awareness is the fundamental building block of all reality. Even the smallest atom has a microscopic spark of selfhood. As the khudi ascends the ladder of existence, it gains greater freedom in consciousness. Thus, the human being is not an anomaly in a dead universe. We are the highest expression of life force that permeates every atom of reality. This brings us to Iqbal's departure from traditional Neoplatonic mysticism. Historically, many sought fana, the annihilation of the self, and fana in Arabic literally means to be annihilated. A pursuit of ego dissolution echoing the Buddhist concept of parinirvana. Iqbal fundamentally rejected this. He argued that the goal of the drop is not to disappear into the ocean, but to become a pearl. Crucially, he provides a daring reinterpretation of the famous cry of Mansur al-Hallaj, Ana al-Haq, I am the eternal truth. Whereas traditionalists saw this as the ultimate annihilation of the I into God, Iqbal saw it as the ultimate affirmation. To Iqbal, Hallaj was not denying his existence. He was asserting that his self was a real, irreducible center of experience within the ultimate reality. Iqbal interprets the prophetic tradition, تَخْلُقُوا بِأَخْلَاقِ اللَّهِ, create in yourselves the attributes of Allah, as a mandate to absorb divine attributes into the self, standing before God not as a shadow, but as a self-reliant individual. Iqbal provides a teleological roadmap for the self to reach the status of the lion of God. Interestingly, Iqbal's stages mirror, yet fundamentally transform the three metamorphoses spoken of by Friedrich Nietzsche in Thus Spoke Zarathustra. The first stage is itti'at, obedience. The first stage of the khudi is the discipline of law, sharia. For Iqbal, there is no true freedom without law. One must first master the external rules of nature and the moral imperatives of faith before one can command reality. The second stage is self-control, zabt nafs. This involves the mastery over one's own physiological drives. It is the consolidation of the ego against the internal and external forces that seek to dissolve it. One cannot hunt the unseen worlds if they remain a prisoner of their own base appetites and instincts. The third and final stage is divine vicegerency. Niyabat ilahi is the apex of human evolution. Here, Iqbal's thought is deeply rooted in the Islamic tradition of Ibn Arabi's Al-Insan al-Kamil, or the perfected man. The one who reaches this stage becomes the co-creator with God. Iqbal grounds this in the primordial declaration, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. And when the Lord said to the angels, indeed I will make upon the earth my successor. Iqbal adds that because Allah is the best of creators, Ahsanul Khaliqeen, the human being is invited to participate in the ongoing act of creation. A central pillar of Iqbal's metaphysics is his uncompromising stance on free will. He was a fierce critic of the fatalism that suggested our taqdeer is a pre-written book. In Sakinama, he addresses the human soul directly. Tu hai fateh alam khub zisht, tujhe kya bataun teri sar navisht. You are the conqueror of the world of the beautiful and ugly, of the good and evil. How can I tell you your own destiny? By calling the human being a conqueror, Fatih of the world of beauty and ugliness, Iqbal asserts that morality and history are realms we are meant to subdue, not become enslaved to. He grounds this in the Quranic principle, indeed Allah will not change the conditions of a people until they change what is in themselves. To Iqbal, fatalism is the death of the khudi. This brings us back to the line, there are other worlds yet to be manifested. In Iqbal's universe is a creative evolution, deeply influenced by his mentor Jalaluddin Rumi. Iqbal believes God is an eternally active, creative will. The unmanifested will, Be-Namud, are new systems of justice and new scientific paradigms waiting for a khudi, powerful enough to bring them into the light of history. When he says, for the mind of existence is not empty, he is offering a final rebuttal to nihilism. Iqbal's philosophy is a call to intellectual and spiritual sovereignty in a world that demands our conformity. He demands our selfhood. He invites us to cultivate our khudi until we become the lion of God. The worlds that are yet to be manifested are waiting for the scholars in this room. Do not simply seek a place in the world as it is. Be the khudi that hunts the heavens and brings the unseen worlds of justice, beauty, and truth into the scene. Khudi ko kar buland itna ki har takdir se pehle khuda bande se khud puche bata teri raza kya hai. Exalt thyself to such a height that before every decree of fate, God himself shall ask of thee, tell me what is thy fate. Thank you.